Hey everybody, this is Tamiya Robles. I am a credit repair expert. I'm the owner of FixMyCreditNow850.com. I'm also the host of this podcast, Coast to Coast Credit, where I talk anything and everything of or pertaining to credit issues, whether it's for your personal credit or your business credit. We talk about that here. So right now we're going to jump right into the different credit bureaus that you may or may not have known existed. There's actually a total of 63 credit bureaus out there, and we mostly know about three. Some of y'all maybe know about four, maybe five. But for the most part, there's a total of 63. So we're going to go over them. And the reason why this is important to know is because every bureau specializes in something in particular that affects your credit. It can affect your credit, your main three credit bureaus that you're aware of, the Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. It can also affect whether you're getting approved or denied for something, even if you're trying to rent. Some of these other credit bureaus, you need to know where you stand with them because you could potentially uh, be rejected or declined for a line of credit or even getting hired in certain situations. So, just to check all of that, you want to know where to go. You want to know which credit bureaus do what and how that can benefit you. So, let's just get into it. We're going to hop right into it. So, right here, if you go to the CFPB. So some of you guys know about the CFPB. It's the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and it gives you a list of all of the consumer reporting companies. So I'm going to go over this because this bit of information is pretty important. It lets you know ahead of time before it gives you the list basically what you're in for, what each of these credit reporting agencies do and what they specialize in for the most part. So it's encouraging you to use this list, just like I stated, to take advantage of your rights to review the information that are on your consumer reports and dispute possible inaccuracies with the companies as needed. So again, what you want to do is, let's say, for example, there's a credit bureau, we're going to get into it, called Check Systems. And I talked to you about the check systems in my other podcast. Uh, in a nutshell, I burn people, I burn banks. And when I decided that I wanted to take my situation seriously and my finances seriously, I tried to open up a bank account, but they said I was red flagged. And the red flag came from the check systems, and the check systems were basically saying, don't open a bank with her. She owes us money, or she owes somebody money, but whatever it is, don't mess with this chick. So I had to go to check systems and see what was on that credit report because it wasn't on my 3B report, my Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax report. So yeah, this is why you need to know these other credit bureaus, because a lot of times this could be preventing you from having the credit score that you're truly seeking because of some shit in the background. So yeah, let's just go over it. So it says the list includes three nationwide consumer reporting companies, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, and several other reporting companies that focus on creating consumer credit reports for certain industries. All right. So the market areas included on the list are nationwide consumer reporting companies. There are three big nationwide providers in consumer reports: Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. These are the ones we know. Their reports contain information about your payment history. Let's highlight that. Your payment history, how much credit you have and use, and other inquiries and information. So, all my videos and with the episodes and the podcast, I'm predominantly talking about Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. We talk about payment history. We talk about, your credit utilization and your inquiries and how important it is to get that off your credit report. But there's other credit bureaus that do the same thing. For example, Innovis, we're going to see that in a moment. They do the same thing. All right. Now, employment screening. Employment screening companies provide verification information such as a credit history, employment, salary, and education and professional license information to employers and others. So if you're trying to seek that new job, you're getting interviewed, this is what they look for, and you're going to see in a moment which bureaus they look at. There's some that are going to that specialize in tenant screening. Some of you guys are familiar with rent reporters. That's a credit bureau. We're going to get into that as well. Tenant screening companies provide reports to landlords, property management companies, and others. So if you're applying as a tenant for a residential property, a tenant screening report with negative information in it, such as past due rent or prior housing eviction, this could result in a rejected lease application or a lease with tough conditions. So yeah, if you are, again, I told you I've been evicted multiple times, multiple times, right? I'm not proud of it. It is just what it is. Like that's how my past was. But that when you decide to take your shit seriously and you're rejected everywhere and you can't get that basic apartment, this is why. This is why. So we're gonna go over which credit bureaus handle tenant screening. You're going to pull that report. I'll show you guys how to do it. Okay. You're going to pull that report and dispute it. And we're going to have an easier life moving forward. Okay. So, yeah. The next one is check and bank account screening. So, check and bank account screening companies collect and report data on checking account applications, openings, and closures, as well as check screening services like check verification. Okay, so that's self explanatory. Personal property insurance. Personal property insurance reporting companies collect and report information on consumers' home, auto, and personal property. So we'll find out which credit bureaus do that. All right. Medical might be a biggie for some. Okay. We did just get out of the COVID situation. Some of us are still getting sick. You may have, maybe you've had a kid. Quick story. I have two children, and I both times I got this huge bill, even with insurance. Talking about they wanted 26,000 for my kids. I ain't never paid those bills. But I knew I wasn't gonna pay it. You know what I'm saying? So more than likely the debt went to some of these credit bureaus that specialize in medical consumer reporting. So like, boom, you want to check that out. That might affect you in the future. But then, you never know because the rules did change a little bit with your President Biden in office, and medical is not allowed on your credit report. But I think they're talking about the 3Bs. I don't think they're talking about the other consumer reporting companies. So we can get into that as well. I'll show you how to pull it. Same thing. And it's all pretty much the same. You just go to each credit bureau, you request your credit report. You're obligated to get one for free. It's within your right every 12 months. See what's on there, look for any inaccuracies and dispute it. So, yeah, but we're going to go through that. Low income and subprime. So, low income and subprime reporting companies provide consumer information to companies that market and sell products and services specifically to lower income consumers and credit applicants with impaired credit records. Good to know, right? So if you feel like you fall in this category, we're gonna go into those credit bureaus, and you're gonna pull your shit, dispute it, and get removed if needed. If needed. Supplementary reports, the information that consumer reporting companies sell to use supplement other data, such as the credit data from the nationwide consumer reporting companies, sell about you. I said that wrong. Let me let me reread that because that didn't sound right. The information that some consumer reporting companies sell is used to supplement other data, such as the credit data that the nationwide consumer reporting companies sell about you. This information can include public records and ID verification data to help firms manage credit and fraud risk. Okay. So these supplementary reports and public records, we know about that, especially if you have child support on your credit report. If you have bankruptcies on your credit report, you know what I told y'all about that. Technically, technically that's not supposed to be on your credit report. Okay. Um, they search for public information. So clearly there's an agency, even if it's not on the three Bs, but there's an agency and other credit bureaus that seek out this information and put it on your report. And it will either be on your main three or it will be on one of these other credit bureaus you don't know about. So now you know. So we're going to find this out as well. We're going to figure out which companies these are, and we're going to talk about how you can get rid of them. Okay. So you really want to go into this world, continue on with the cleanest record as possible. So I'm gonna show you how. Let's dive deep up in here. Okay. So utilities. These companies collect information associated with telecommunications, pay TV, utility, gas, electric, water services to help companies in these industries manage consumer relations. So again, this goes without saying. Y'all already know. You already know if you have Verizon, I say Verizon all the time. I hate these people with a deep rooted passion. It's so hard to get. Well, they used to be. They used to be really challenging for me to get off a credit report. But electric companies, I'm from Philly, and in Pennsylvania, we have this electric company called Pico Electric. Yo, quick story. Um, it came off shady, but it was wrong, but it was right, I guess, professionally. I owed them a ton of money, I guess, and I didn't realize it. And it was on my credit report. And I was like, all right, how much should I just pay y'all? What's the deal? And I wound up not paying them. And then eventually it was off my credit report. So I'm like, all right, cool. But it was with another company, right? It was like with a collection agency. Apparently, what Pico did was if you didn't pay them after a certain amount of years, then they would move it to another, what looked like another company, but it was actually owned by them. It was pretty clever. And it was owned by them. And for the longest, when I tried to get utilities in my name, after I left PA, it was real difficult. I kept getting rejected. It was just like a weird time. So like I had to get my boyfriend and at the time, and then eventually turned into a husband, but I had to get shit in his name. But uh, it was just bad. So like we can now find these consumer reporting companies that specialize in utilities. So if you want to dispute that and again wipe it out on the front end and the back end, we're going to find out which companies, uh, reporting companies, do that. Retail is a thing. So these companies collect information related to retail product return and suspected exchange fraud and abuse. That's new to me. Like, this is new to me. That's different. I'm not talking about the returns and the frauds. I'm just surprised that they actually have a credit bureau specifically for this type of thing. So, I mean, we could get into it. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to delve too deep into that one because I have zero clients that are concerned about that. Like, but just for educational purposes only, we can go over that. That's totally fine. And lastly, gaming. So this I'm pretty sure is like a new thing, but it says these companies share consumer data associated with check cashing settlement services to assist gaming establishments such as casinos and racetracks with risk management. Okay. So yeah, I get that. When I was thinking gaming, I'm dumb. I'm thinking like the gaming system is taking over like the gaming world with the kids and people that are into like PlayStation and what is it, Xbox and all this other shit, and they have like these, it's a pretty big community. So in my head, I thought that's what they were talking about. But yeah, so that's what we're going to get into. Just to give you a heads up, these are what the other credit bureaus specialize in. There's 60 of them. I'm not going to go through all 60, but what I am going to do is I'm going to go through each one that I know for a fact, that I know 100% for sure that you guys go through, that affects you guys directly. And because I talk to you, I hear what you're saying in the I read what you're saying in the comments. I hear what you're saying to me over the phone and in your consultations. So we're going to go over that. If you want to know which credit bureaus affect your rent and your, I guess, your rent reporting and things like that, check out the next video and we'll get into it. I'll talk to y'all later.